I asked the book a question out loud, the way you would ask an empty room, never meaning to be answered. And in the margin, in my own hand, faster than I could ever write, it answered me. I had not touched the pen. The pen was dry in my fingers. The ink on the page was already wet. Some books keep the days. This one keeps us. He died on the third morning, exactly as it was written, exactly on time and by water. I want to set that down plainly before I lose my nerve, because everything I have learned since stands on that one terrible fact, the way this town stands on stone. 3 days early his name had come, in my own hand, on a page I had been forbidden to read. The bees had laid themselves over his door like a breathing skin, and the bell had rung once, and then it was true. The page did not warn him. The page knew. When I came down to Thomas Overt's cottage, the bees had lifted and gone, and the door stood open on a single inch of cold dark. He had walked out into the shallows before dawn, they said, the way a man walks out to sea to a boat, and the water had taken him gently, the way it takes everything here. No struggle, no mark on him. The kindest possible drowning. The hollow is always kind, and that is the very worst thing about it. Cale Drover poled out to bring him in. I watched from the slate. He did not hurry, and he did not look down at what he carried, and when the boat passed below me, his flat reservoir eyes came up and found mine without surprise, the way you find a thing exactly where you set it down. He has done this before. Those eyes said. He will do it again, and not once, in any column, on any page, in all the years of the keeping, has the Almanac ever written the ferryman's name. It was old Maris Fenn who told the bees, not me. I had not earned it, she said, not yet, and so I stood 3 steps back in the wet grass, while the beekeeper bent to the hives and spoke Thomas Overt's name into them. Lo, 3 times, the way you wake a sleeper you are fond of. The colony answered with a sound like a held breath, let slowly out. She straightened, she did not weep. She has done this for 4 keepers before me, and she says it the way another woman might say she has buried 4 husbands, as a fact of weather. I made her sit. I made her take tea she did not want, and I laid my 2 hands flat on the table so they would stop their shaking, and I told her what was on the page. The name, the manor, by water. The date, 3 days early. My own hand, wet on a working page I was never to open. I told her all of it, and I watched her face go still and careful, and I asked her the only question that mattered. I said, the book records the past. You told me that yourself. Only ever the past. So how? She turned the honey jar a half turn on the table and a half turn back, and she said, it did. Only ever the past. For every keeper I have known and the keepers they knew before them, it copied what had already come to pass and nothing more. That is the keeping. That is the whole of the keeping. And then she looked up, and for the first time since I came to the hollow, old Maris Fenn looked afraid. Until you, she said. It has never done this before you came. I asked her what it meant. I asked her what had happened to the 4 keepers before me and where they were now. And her hand came up and pressed flat against her own mouth, hard, as though to hold something in by force. I am not allowed to tell you how it ends, she said through her fingers. That is the one cruelty they laid on me. I may teach you the keeping, and I may love you, child, and I do, but I am forbidden to warn you. Then she took my hand in both of hers, and her hands were warm, far warmer than a living woman's hands have any right to be, and she said, do not answer it. Whatever it asks you, do not answer. And then she left, quickly, the way you leave a sick room, and I sat alone in the cooling kitchen with her, warning lying on me like a stone. Do not answer it, as if a book could ask, as if a ledger of the dead could lean toward you across the lectern and want to know things about you. I told myself she was old and frightened and grieving in her own way. I told myself a great many sensible things. Then I took up the candle and went back into the front room, to the lectern by the window that faces the water, because I am the careful one, the quiet one, and I had to know. Thomas Ovott was dead. The right thing, the keeper's thing, was to do the keeping. So I trimmed the pen, and I unstoppered the good ink with its smell of iron and oak apple and old rain. And in the fair column, in my best clean hand, I copied his name and the date now safely in the past. A death that had already happened. The keeping, exactly as Maris taught me. And as the last stroke dried, I did a foolish thing. I was tired and frightened and alone, and I spoke to it. I said, out loud, into the cold room, why him? And the margin answered me. There, beside his name, in the wide foxed border where the keepers before me had penciled their small dry notes, a line of writing came. It did not appear all at once. It was worse than that. It wrote itself, stroke after stroke, left to right, the way a hand writes only faster than any living hand could move, the ink wet and shining as it went, because his name was already in the water before you wrote it. Here, it said, we do not record the drowned, we choose them. I am a copyist. I have given 10 years of my life to matching hands, to telling a forger's careful flourish from the true careless line. I leaned close with the candle and I read the marginal hand, the way I read everything by its tells. The R leaned, the cross of the T lifted away to the right and trailed. The tail of the Y hooked left, always left. It was my hand, the same hand that had named Thomas 3 days early. The same hand I had been making in the fair column, 1 inch away, slow and clean, while this faster, wetter twin of it answered a question I had only thought to ask aloud. I should have closed it. Maris had told me, do not answer it. But there is a thing in me, has always been a thing in me, that cannot leave a question half answered on a page. I am the careful one, yes, but careful is only fear with good handwriting. So I dipped the pen, and beneath its answer, in my slow, clean, fair hand, I wrote a question of my own. I wrote, who chooses? And I sat back and watched the margin and waited, and the candle did not stir, and then it answered. You do, it wrote. You always have. You only forgot that you do. I will tell you what I did then, though it shames me, because the book is honest, and so I have had to learn to be. I decided to catch it in a lie. I am a copyist. I know that the surest way to unmask a forger is to feed it a falsehood and watch whether it knows the truth underneath. So, I steadied my hand, and I wrote a thing I knew for certain to be false. I wrote it plainly, as fact, the way the fair column takes only fact. I wrote, I was born in this valley. I was born in the hollow, and I held my breath. If it was only my own fear wearing my handwriting, it would agree with me. A lie agrees with you. The truth is the only thing that argues back. It argued. The margin filled, faster than before. The wet ink almost angry in its certainty. No, it wrote. You were not. You came to the hollow as a child. Once, the long autumn, the page was torn. You were the child the page was torn to save. You do not remember, because the day you were saved was lifted clean out of you. Ask the pastor what he gave to keep you breathing. Ask him whose date is written now beside your own. I have told no one that I do not remember arriving here. I have told no one about the childhood that sits in me like furniture in a dark room, familiar and dateless. Every memory, with its how and its when, cut cleanly away. I have never said those words aloud. Not to Maris, not to Cale, not into the empty kitchen at night. I had not even let myself fully think them. And the book knew. The book knew the exact shape of the hole inside me, and it knew that something had been torn out to make that hole. And it knew the name of the man whose hands had done the tearing. I went to the window then, because I could not look at the page, and I looked down through the clear black water at the old hollow, at the drowned church and its open door. And she was there. The low woman. She has been there since my first morning, the still figure below the waterline at the church door. And Maris will not speak of her, and I had let myself believe she was a trick of weed and shadow. But this morning she was turned up toward me through 12 feet of cold, and her hand was raised, not waving, not drowning, pointing up the hill, at the bell tower where the child Liss rings the hour before a death, at the calendar that never turns. I turned back to the book. I knew I should not. I knew it the way you know the floor is gone in the dark, before your foot ever finds the air. But I turned forward, past the fair columns, past today, into the working pages where the cold sits waiting under your fingers. And I found the place where a page had been torn out long ago, a ragged stub against the spine, an old wound in the book. And beside that wound, fresh, wet, in my own slanting hand, was a single entry waiting to be lived. A name, a manner, a date. The date was the one the pastor tore away, the long autumn, to save a child. And the name written beside it was not Thomas Overt's. The name beside it was mine. I did not ask it anything. I swear to you I did not speak. I did not move. I held my breath the way you hold it underwater. And still, the margin began to write slowly this time, almost gently, the wet ink answering the question I had not dared even to think. You already know how this ends, it wrote. You read it once before. The long autumn you came. You read your own name aloud. That is why she stands at the church door. And that is why you do not remember.